Linsay McCulloch.
So I'm here to talk to you tonight about Steven Seagal. Big whoop from any Steven Seagal fans in the audience? Okay, last week there were none, so that's pretty good. And I kind of groan if you've actually seen a Steven Seagal film, but maybe not big fans. Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk to you tonight about a summer where he had maybe too big an impact on my life. And it started with this book, Yippee-Ki-Yay-Figure, by a writer called Vern. I don't know much about Vern, and Vern is the only name he seems to have when he writes. But he's a great film critic, and this book is full of reviews of, but you know, not for him the Czech New Wave or feminist underground films. He likes Die Hard, and he likes action films, and he likes horror films, and so these are the films that he writes about. But the book is brilliant. He's such a funny writer. So, loved this book. And then I thought, I wonder what else he's written. And he's written this book, Seagalogy, a study of the ass-kicking films of Steven Seagal. And I cannot emphasise too much what a work of research and academic rigour this is. Steven Seagal's made something like 60 films, and Vern has done detailed reviews of every single one of those films. So I started reading this book, and it was great, it's really funny. But at that point, this was 6 or 7 years ago, I hadn't actually seen any Steven Seagal films. So I thought, you know what, I need to set myself a little bit of context. I need to understand the world that Vern was writing about. And so I thought, yeah, I'll watch 2 of these Seagal films. I ended up watching about 20 over the course of the summer, and I became slightly obsessed. And Vern's take is that Seagalogy is a kind of, it's an authorial mark. It's all Steven Seagal's films have something in common, which marks them out from a Jean-Claude Van Damme film or Bruce Willis film. And so, what are those things? Well, this is what I learned. He's always, pretty much always, the hero of the films. He's played a baddie once or twice, but mostly he's the hero, and he's generally a cop, or he's ex-CIA, or he's an ex-Navy SEAL. And if he is an ex-CIA, he's got, quite unusually for these kind of films, he's got quite a cynicism about America, about American foreign policy, about the law and who it's for. So it kind of marks him out slightly. If you know anything about Steven Seagal, you know that he's a master of martial arts. The one he favours is called Aikido. I don't know much about Aikido, but it does involve a lot of arms, which we will see later on. I mean, this was true in real life. He was a martial arts master. He lived in Japan for a while. He ran his own dojo there, although he did inherit that from his father-in-law. But nonetheless, he ran his own dojo. And so his films, they do showcase his martial arts skills. They also kind of revere, there's a spirituality that he likes to include in that. So whether that's an Asian spirituality, or in the one we're going to look at tonight, kind of Native American, indigenous spirituality, that features there as well. There's this very persistent internet rumour that I haven't really been able to kind of say yes or no to, that he attended Chichester High School for Boys for a term when he lived over here. So I like to think he honed some of these martial arts skills on the mean streets of West Sussex. Ponytail? Often, not always. Often, not always, there's a fight in a bar, but he's seen off kind of 6 or 7 people. In the course of that fight, somebody will get their wrist broken. And he breaks wrists like he's flipping the top off a tube of Smarties. It's very easy. And in fact, he got his start in films as a kind of fight advisor. Before he was an actor, he was a fight advisor on films. And he was training Sean Connery on Never Say Never Again, the last Bond film that Sean Connery did. And he was training him how to break wrists. And Seagal broke Sean Connery's wrist. Risks aren't the only things that get broken. Glass is in constant danger in Steven Seagal. People are thrown through windows, people are thrown into jukeboxes, people are thrown through windscreens. Any bottle or glass you've got lying on the table, it's gone. It's gone. In his later films, he's got this kind of big environmental consciousness, like the beauty of nature. He's an animal lover. This is a bit later in his career. As you can see, he's slightly bigger. He's got a dye job like the kind my nana had well into her 80s. I don't know you're thinking, you know, all of these different elements of Seagalogy. Linsay, you're thinking, we don't have time to watch 20 Seagal films. Is there one that maybe combines all of these elements? And you're not, there is. He actually got to direct a film, unbelievably, called Undeadly, and this brought together all of his passions. And we're going to watch the trailer for that now.
In this land of frozen beauty, where a proud people make their home, Agent's Oil is making a killing.
People here want to talk about the poisons in their environment.
If Agent's Oil is not online and operational in 13 minutes, then the oil rights will revert back to the Eskimos, and that is not going to happen.
But there is hope. And now, he's here. Steven Seagal is on deadly ground.
When they put out the fires, I stopped spills. We are being lied to by some of the most sophisticated people on Earth.
I know we've had our disagreements.
How much money is enough?
I don't need that kind of problem right now.
Get rid of the problem.
You mean mercenaries?
Now this land has a friend. These people have a warrior.
Did you hear about the slow name, man?
This corporation has a big problem.
Who the hell is this guy? Some say his company.
Company?
CIA.
Whatever he is, he's a damn problem. Steven Seagal. Turn him around, Michael Caine.
We need a miracle to stop us now.
Just gonna reach out and touch somebody here.
On deadly ground.
I guess I do have a couple of questions. I mean, what is Michael Caine doing in that movie? Does he also have my nana's dye job on his head? And also, why is Michael Caine so bad in this movie? As far as I know, Steven Seagal hasn't had formal acting training. That sounds glib, but it isn't. But actually, his acting style is not always terrible. It's a very naturalistic style. It doesn't always work, but in this film, Michael Caine makes him look like Robert De Niro. It's so bad. But I guess my big question really is, how did Steven Seagal get to direct a film? And is the answer Under Siege. How many people here have seen Under Siege? Yeah. This is his big kind of mainstream film. It was the 5th film that he made. He'd been in 4 films before that, which were kind of, good for Steven Seagal, good kind of gritty little thrillers, and they'd done well. And his presence, his kind of on-screen presence was deemed kind of sufficiently acceptable that he was given the chance to do a big mainstream movie. So, Under Siege, he plays an ex-Navy SEAL who is kind of living out the rest of his Navy days as a chef on a battleship that's due to be decommissioned. Terrorists take over this battleship. It's like blah blah blah, nuclear warheads, it doesn't really matter. But one of the terrorists is Tony Lee Jones, also hugely overacting. And it's been called Die Hard on the battleship because it's one man's kind of fight against these terrorists. And they don't know that he's there, they don't know who he is, they don't know why this chef is causing them so many problems. And he kind of combines his chef skills and his fighting skills. So they're getting whacked with pots all the time. He does the other things, but you know, there's people getting chopped with cleavers. He makes a bomb out of a microwave. I said all that, and I don't say anything kind of snotty about it. It is a not bad action film, and it was so good business. Cost about, I guess, $30-odd million to make. Early 90s it was. Made something like $160–170 million. Huge, really, really popular film. And this resulted in two things. It resulted in a sequel, which didn't happen very often in Steven Seagal films. And this was Under Siege 2: Dark Territory. So whereas Under Siege, Die Hard on a battleship, blah blah, nuclear warheads, Under Siege 2: Dark Territory is Die Hard on a train, blah blah blah, weaponized satellite. Doesn't really matter. But they're both quite good films. They're both quite good films for what they are. And so a sequel was one thing that resulted from Under Siege, and the second was he got his chance to direct, which is Undeadly that we just saw the trailer for. And this was his chance to bring everything together. So it's about eco-terrorism. I mean, in some ways he's quite kind of ahead of his own, ahead of everybody else, because he's saying very definitely in the early 90s there should be eco-terrorism against oil companies. So, and the clip that we're going to see is the bar fight. But he's already dispatched, by the time we come into this clip, he's already dispatched 6 or 7 people using his Chichester kung fu skills. He's now fighting the kind of the head of the gang of oil workers who are in this bar, who have been bullying the indigenous people in the bar. And he's fighting the lead gang of this gang. And they play the game where they have to kind of slap, if they can slap the person's hand, they get to take a punch. So this is the bar fight scene.
Here we go, Mr. Big Boss. I'm ready. Okay. Ready quick? You ready quick? You know what? Why don't you just take your best shot, pal?
This is the man's man, and I'm the cupcake. One man leaves. Here we go. One man, right? You're a man, right? Here we go, man. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. You're a man, remember? Big balls between your legs. Okay, here we go. Now, come on. What does it take? What does it take to change the essence of a man? The time to change. Time. I do too.
The most philosophical bar fight scene ever. I say quite a lot of times to people, what does it take to change the essence of a man? But nobody knows what I'm talking about. I won't stop them, I'm going to carry on. So he got to direct this film. He wrote it, he wrote part of it, and he's got a writing credit on it. He starred in it, he directed it, I think he produced it. He also wrote the song that plays over the credits at the end. He is a blues guitarist as well. So this was his kind of high point. Under Siege, on Deadly Ground, this was his high point. He carried on making films. As I said, he made roughly 60 films. By the late 90s, early 2000s, they're not really getting cinematic release anymore. They're going straight to DVD, straight to home media. And so he, although he continues making films, he starts to diversify into his own range of energy drinks. So we have Steven Seagal's Lightning Bolt Cherry Charge flavour, which is the red one, I guess tastes of cherry. And Steven Seagal's Lightning Bolt Asian Experience. I wasn't able to, these have been discontinued for some reason. I wasn't able to fully do my research tonight, I don't know what they taste like. But in Vern's acknowledgement of Seagalology for the kind of revised and updated second version, he did say that he wrote it under the influence of Steven Seagal's Lightning Bolt Cherry Charge. He was also doing this. So, according to Seagal, he had spent 20 years as a reservist in the Louisiana Sheriff's Department, whether it was 20 years or 2 months, doesn't really matter. A reality TV show kind of follows him as, I guess, part of the Louisiana Sheriff's TA. And so he's working with real cops, with real policemen, and they're in his film roles. He's the lead guy, he's giving the orders, he's chasing murderers, he's doing the fights. On the TV show, not so much, you know, he's kind of hanging around like a bit of a mascot, really, doing traffic, parking violations and drug busts. But the policemen, the real kind of coppers that he's working with, seem to really quite like him. They see him as a bit of a mascot. They say that he's very good at kind of calming things down, partly because people can't believe that Steven Seagal is on their door as part of a drug bust. So it's not like they think he's going to fight them or calm them down that way. It's just, what is Steven Seagal doing here? And at one point, one guy says to him, you know, I ain't done nothing wrong. Please don't send me to jail, Mr. Stallone. How well that goes. So this whole thing really is about Steven Seagal as a nice guy. That's what that TV show's about. And in real life, perhaps not so much with the company that he keeps. He does have Russian citizenship now. He's very, very pro-Putin, pro the annexation of Crimea, pro the invasion of Ukraine. Putin has made him the American ambassador for youth and culture, which is probably definitely a real thing. He's also been dogged by accusations of sexual assault, general sexual pestery. He's also not very popular on film sets because he's so macho, he won't really follow the safety rules when he's working with stunt people, and so they've ended up getting hurt because he wants to do things for real and not just pretend. So that's Steven Seagal in real life. But are any of his films any good? Well, Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, I think are decent, and if you can't actually get your hands on a real Die Hard, they're not bad kind of second string Out for Justice was his fourth film, and it's a really good kind of tight little thriller actually. It all takes place over one day in Brooklyn. He's a cop looking for the guy who shot his partner, and it's just 24 hours of pretty non-stop action and kind of thriller stuff. It's actually pretty good. It started a little bit of a fashion for Steven Seagal is Out for Justice, Steven Seagal is Marked for Death, Steven Seagal is Above the Law. So often these three-word titles have Steven Seagal is Above the Law, which I can like. And On Deadly Ground, which I have mentioned before. Now, if you think of a great film, you know, what's it got? It's got a good script, it's got great acting, it's got a believable plot. I mean, this one's got none of these. And yet, it's fun, and it's slightly compelling. I might be presenting it as so good it's bad, and I don't think it's that. I was suggesting last week that if you're lying on the sofa comatose on New Year's Day with your half bottle of Baileys, some leftover sausage rolls, You could do worse than kind of have a little nap in front of the telly to the nice music of many, many explosions and the sound of wrists on your hand. So I would recommend those three. There are, of course, some incredibly terrible ones, but having watched 20 and them all having this kind of thematic, Segalian kind of similarity, to this day I'm not really sure which ones I've seen and which ones I haven't. But these ones I have seen and I can recommend them. I really want to shout out to Vern, who kind of kicked off my interest in Seagology. This would be a good time, I guess, for me to unmask myself as the real Vern, but I'm not him. He's just a great writer, and still to this day, I don't know if he writes books anymore, but he has a website at outlawfraser.com and still posts reviews. I would say every couple of days there's something new on his website. So I heart him. Please do look out for him. If you want to hear more from me, I do a podcast with my podcast partner Gary called What's Wrong With This Picture, and it's all about weird films. I have tried and tried and tried to get Gary to agree to do Undeadly as part of our podcast, but he refuses point blank. But we know what it takes to change the essence of a man, so I'm going to give it a try. Thanks very much.
Linsay McCulloch.